You don't have a microphone.
This thing doesn't really provide them, but I didn't need to. Being the hour of 5 o'clock, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Are we ready? Okay. Alrighty. So again, I'd like to say, in the hour 5:02, I would like to call the Public Safety and Licensing Committee of Wednesday, August 27th, 2025 to order. We can do a roll call. Well, and actually, rather than a roll call, I'd like the aldermen and the staff to introduce themselves so that people here know who we're addressing. And if the members would like, we can remove the chair from down there and give you a little elbow room. All right, and we can start with Alder Pete if he'd like to introduce himself. Oh, here he comes. Sorry.
Hello, Alderman Samuel Pete, 10th District over by Mitchell School. The new gym is finally completed and we'll have our official ceremony tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock.
That's quite the introduction. Thank you. Alder Fraser, would you like to introduce yourself to the folks here?
Alder Fraser, First District, which is here. Welcome.
Alder Pabon?
Alderman Nathan Pavon, 15th district, as far as north as you can get in the city before you get to Taladome.
Alder Renee Kelly, I'm the 13th district, which is West Racine, Lee's Deli over to 16th, 17th Street.
And vice chair
And vice chair
of this committee.
of this committee.
So I'll be back.
Sandy Wagner, Alderman of the 6th district, chair of the PSL currently. And then we can go to our staff.
Sergeant Blue, City Police Department. Assistant City Attorney Ian Pomplin. I am the Attorney's Office's liaison to this committee. Deputy Clerk Sam Williams.
Customer service clerks, licensing lead, Lloyd as well.
That's everybody. Righty. So we called to order. So the next item on our agenda would be the approval of the minutes from the August 13th, 2025 meeting.
I have reviewed them and I think they're accurate. Move to approve.
Second,
Hey, did you have something you wanted to add
I
to
was
that?
just gonna say, roll call, but we all just individual ourselves, it doesn't matter. Second.
It's all here. Okay, we have a motion second to approve those meeting, committee minutes. Any discussion on that? Any corrections, additions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. And the clerk's office will introduce our first item.
Item 0761-25, communication or discussion with Racine Police Department regarding the RPD response.
This item was introduced by Alder Kelly, and I believe we have the police chief here perhaps to speak to this item. I don't know if you'd like to say a few words before to give a little brief introduction to the.
No, that I was made aware of the plan. I believe it was in early 2022. I think there was a little bit of confusion about different things that the city was responding to, and some communication gaps between dispatch and, PD. So I think we've, kind of worked through some of those in the interim between then and now. And I have met previously with Chief, the dispatch and our head of NED. And we've gone over this before, but I would like the chief to speak about that. You could?
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the invite.
Welcome. Happy to have you
It is
here.
after 5 o'clock. But thank you. I know we all work. But Alder Kelly's correct. We met some time ago. We had a response plan back in 2020 COVID-19 kind of thing, where police responded to calls. Actually, we're responding to priority 1 mostly, and then some priority 2 buses. The one on life and death, we have to respond to those 911 calls. And then we started shifting things to go online. Since then, there's been a couple of things that, we had staffing improvements, we have a number of staffing improvements, where we're able to answer a lot more calls. It's pretty much become a full service police event. I mean, we still don't respond to, key lockouts or anything like that. Now, if you have an animal, you have a human inside the car or a baby, we will respond. But there's a number of calls that was gone through, I think we went line by line, if I recall our meeting. And there's a number of calls that not only do we respond, but the sheriff's office responds to, the fire department will respond to first, our CSOs, our police services will have first responded. We've expanded plan quite a bit. We average yearly calls for service of 55,000 calls a year. So, but we've expanded our services. I think, and we review this annually, our plans, usually about 10 to 13 months, we review the plan to see what we can improve. More recently, we improved on our thefts. So we do respond to more thefts. Sometimes, we do have a online theft reporting system for individuals that have to work with someone that's get out in the morning, their car's broken into, but they can't wait for the police, so that they can do that online. For insurance purposes.
Thank you. Are these folks trying to come in? Did you want to come in and sit down?
No, we're.
Yes, we're just waiting to talk to him.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
There's a number of things, we have our COP officers respond to certain calls, obviously our regular patrol response call for service. We have, officers and specialty units that respond to certain things, so there are different ways of using. We've now expanded our.
Any questions from committee members? Repeat.
Thank you, not a question, more of a comment. I'm hearing that you're more efficient and, well, maybe more efficient is not the correct term, because that might imply you weren't as efficiently to them fast, but you're being efficient, taking advantage of technology or the technologies that are available and responding to the needs of the community in a way that's helping solve problems and improve quality of life for citizens and citizens.
Yeah, we can always keep improving, but thank you for that comment. Yeah, I think we've, since I got here back in 2021, we were down 133 officers, we're at 183 or 184 as of today. So obviously that's a lot of hires, a lot of inexperience, but we're going through a learning curve and it's an everyday type of thing here. When you have newer officers, there's a lot, that's where our supervisors step in, help them guide them and lead them in the correct ways, making sure that we have provided good service to everybody.
Just a
Ed.
couple other points to that. First of all, I appreciate, and I think the community needs to understand what a great job you're doing with training your officers in general and your new officers and dealing with being proactive as opposed to being reactive. And I won't get into national details or look at our neighboring cities or states. But I think you all, well, statistically, and when I looked at this data earlier, and I think you're on the right track. And again, we appreciate as a city what you all do.
I appreciate those kind of. Not everyone.
Well, if my car just got broken into or what have you, I might have a little, that can happen online now.
Which is fine. We're here to answer everybody. We take every complaint seriously. We look at it. If I do a complaint about the police department, we look at everything. We're an open book. In most cases, obviously, I can't talk about covert operations and things of that nature, but sure, we do a pretty good job, I think, though. And it's a telling sign when our internal affairs complaints are not. That's also.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you.
Heather Pabon?
Actually, I know a big issue, and I've talked a lot about, that is on the mind of a lot of people. Citizens of the speeding issues, speeding, reckless driving, so on and so forth. Can you, I know we talked about it via email, but can you elaborate a little bit on what the RPD is doing to be proactive, and then, you know, the steps that are involved in that, because it's not an instantaneous thing.
Well, thank you for that concern. And that is, I'll tell you what, speeding and reckless driving is the number one concern in the city. I'd rather have that than violence. If you're gonna, that means you're getting in the right direction. However, I have 15 square miles to cover. That's a lot. We do have the help of the sheriffs, we help that state patrol when we run operations, especially on our county highways that come to the city and our state highways that come to the city. We do speedways, we do our regular enforcement, we have grants. We want people to voluntarily comply with the law. We have social media posts, we work with our community partners and at our COP houses and just telling people to slow down. We look at places that modify vehicles, if there doesn't fit their occupancy permits, then we look at them in a different way and then we go after them that way. When I say modify vehicles, is that we have places that will modify vehicles. They're only occupied to have repair vehicles to where, like, is it a vacation or is it a repair? You soup up these cars. So we look at all this, but we do on a regular basis, and I do happen to have some stats here regarding our speeding or regarding our traffic stops. And then, I look at everything, turn to the page. Traffic stops through the end of July. We've had over 3,900 stops this year alone. We're up 8.9% compared to last year. And we're, in 2022, we were low on staff, we had 2,600 stops at this time. So we're at 3920, so that means that we're doing something, stop more vehicles out there. We're stopping them for the right reasons. Obviously, we have to have some sort of violation. And if we have some witnesses to it, it helps us when it comes to prosecuting. Most likely in this, we are making a lot of stops. So it's not like we're not. I know people want us to be everywhere, just can't be everywhere. We just hope for voluntary compliance of the laws. We have speed limits, we work with DPW, we try to slow people down, we try to put some calming effects on our roads, road design. I know that DPW does studies, we do gap studies even for pedestrian crossings, so there's a lot that goes on when it comes to speed, but we want voluntary compliance. If we catch it, we're gonna write it. We have a zero tolerance when it comes to speed. And a lot of other type of violations.
Thank you.
I think I sent you a long, lengthy response to that.
Yes, thank you.
Alder Kelly.
Yes. So I'm glad you brought up speeding, you know, that's my favorite topic in West Virginia. So these traffic, the grants that you guys get, are those limited to a certain time of day and certain days of the week that you are able to do this?
Right, we have the grants they're for speed enforcement, they're for OWIs and CDOT. Those are the 3 grants that we get. Those are their limitation, they are limited by finance. We run out of money, we run out of bucks, we still continue operations, and we pay our officers on overtime operations. Our sergeants are tasked with doing that, I call it director patrol mission, so come up with director patrol mission. Our COP officers, I know I point to you because you used to be a COP officer, they'll run operations as well during their regular work hours. And it's throughout areas of the city. The limitations are funding for the grant, but we still continue our operations as a slow study.
Right, and you know, I also too try, as people will complain a lot about the speeding, and I get it, I see it in front of my house every day. And, you know, it sucks, but, you know, when I've done these ride-alongs just recently with sheriff's office and with, PD, you know, I see the call log, so it is kind of difficult to go sit on a corner and, you know, you've got 2 in a zone or whatever, which those are pretty large zones to take care of. So it's pretty hard to pick up on speeding if you're jumping from call to call, you know, so
Especially
I do acknowledge that.
It's we do have 6 areas that we call squad areas and some other districts or other police agencies. We have 6 areas. And each officers are assigned to those areas. In addition to those officers being assigned, we also have other units that work within those areas too. So it's not just the squad areas with the COP officers. We got the DCIU officers that work doing certain operations out there. So there are other officers that come in there. And if we ask for the assistance of the sheriff, Malik here, they help us out. And it's just a force multiplier that we can do for speeding. That's just for speeding. So we have a lot of people that do kind of get involved running the speedways, whether it's on Douglas, whether it's on 20, whether it's on 11, whether it's downtown. That we have many areas, whether it's over on Washington there by you or by Lee's Deli there over that, when we go over to West Racine. When you get to the tracks there, it's,
Yep.
I know the speed limit goes from 30 to 35 there, so I am cognizant of all this. That it happens all over the city, and that's just, and that's not an excuse, but it happens not only in Racine, but it happens in Caledonia, it happens in Mount Pleasant, it happens out in, Waterford, it happens out in Union Grove. I was going to a function out in, Union Grove. Guess what I see out in the middle of an intersection, out by the corner piece? All these donuts and things, so it happens everywhere, and that's not an excuse, but you want that voluntary compliance, you want parents to teach your children well, you want schools to teach your children. However, I do recall, at one time I was 15, 16 years old, and I had a car too. And I think all of us can speak for that we'd love to kind of squeal our tires. That behavior hasn't changed since I've been around.
Technology got better. Sorry, for speaking out of turn, but that's reality.
But the cars there's more people in cars nowadays, everyone has their own car, I remember growing up with a one family car. I have 4 cars.
Wow.
But it's the reality.
Right.
Everyone's got a car, and it's just there's more cars out there. Obviously, there's more traffic, and we do our best as a city, I believe, not only from law enforcement, DPW, we have many conversations on this. And I know that, Alder Kelly, you, and me too, Alder Weiner, and I'm sure all of you, just getting DPW involved with how we can calm people, slow down or constrict people's, right of way. And it's challenging for all of us, you need temporary speed bumps, it's in Michigan, whether it's on Maine, whether it's on Malvern, whether it's on Yout.
Also
Carlton.
retraining people to the mindset of people, because I tell you, the 2 places I won't speed is on Green Bay Road in Mount Pleasant, going to like Sam's Club. They train you really well, so you know you're not going.
There's an office that sits there right over
Right.
there, and it's female office that sits over there.
Yep, and so people just know, so you retrain your mindset, you're like, oop, nope, I'm gonna slow down. Or Union Grove's not playing, so like, you know, I already got a ticket, like when I first started working there, I'm like, nope, I know exactly where, you know, you slow down by Piggly Wiggly, you just do that, so.
That's an interesting point though, because I do have people that, some constituents that reach out and say, well, Caledonia, you know, doesn't play about this enforcement, so on and so forth. They're also not as big. And you know, and the resources, so that's a good point with even with Union Grove is. You know, as far as their enforcement of things, do you see it more difficult for us because of our larger size or because we still have people in training or, you know?
Well, we're our largest size.
Right.
Union, Caledonia and Mount Pleasant have about 28,000 residents. We have just under 78,000 residents. So we have a lot more calls for service. Our calls here, we're very urban-like, city was very urban-like. We have urban-like problems here, whether it's the schools, whether it's even our crime, violent crime, property crime. We have all those issues that you would expect in a much bigger city. We're much smaller scale, the magnitude's a lot less. Caledonia, Mount Pleasant, don't have, Mount Pleasant on part of their, as I could say, above machine, but for the most part, they'll come and help us out. If we have a call for services near their border. We do share a lot of our technology together, so if someone's leaving Racine that goes in Caledonia, for Mount Pleasant, they're alerted of it. So there's that mutual respect, mutual aid that we have. I know that if you're coming down Main Street off of Wind Point, there's an officer that sits over there too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody knows that, but he knows not to go into Racine. He'll stop the car in Racine. There's a lot, I mean, we also have the speed boards that every alder is, or has requested.
Ground, yeah.
And we have speed trailers that are out there that does do help, but it's more of a psychology thing, and you're hoping, and we do get data off our speed trailer.
Well, I don't mean to hog up all the time here, but I know. I have had people reach out and say those kind of things, just don't work because they're upset about it. From your perspective in law enforcement and evolving your education, so on and so forth, what is the effectiveness of those kind of speed trailers and those?
It's a psychologist thing, because people do is they'll check their speedometer versus their car speedometer versus what's on the speed trailer and speed. They do, so it does slow down, it does make them aware of that. Don't get me wrong, there are people that it doesn't matter to, but for the majority of people, they obey them. Majority, there's that small percentage, 10% of people really don't. Other ones that really do. When all our studies say, that it's less than 3%, it's usually there's a DOT recommendation there, less than 3% are, going above the speed limit on a maybe, 20,000. You don't really need that enforcement there. It's always that one or two car to make those fast. And so we'll look at that data and then we'll put our enforcement where they're above that 3%. Whether it's on Douglas, when I say Douglas, Washington, Highway 11, Main Street, Melvin, Yao, Charles, Gould, Erie, those are the streets we really focus on, because those are the egress and ingress of our city. And I know how we have less stop signs, less traffic control than some of those areas.
I have a few random questions if there's nothing else from the committee members.
Oh, yeah, so I think, so a lot of, I have to do a lot of explaining as well. Because when we talk about Union Grove compared to Racine, because I work in Union Grove a lot. The call volume for Union Grove is not as significant, and so deputies out there like myself can prioritize initiating traffic stops versus Racine, and I've patrolled over here a lot too, where like you had alluded to, I can't initiate traffic stops if I'm getting a call, I'm getting dispatch call to call to call to call to call. And so I think educating the public on that is, a lot of times when we do initiate traffic stops, it's because we're free. Essentially free to, so we're not gonna call for service. That is our time to initiate traffic stops. Which is why when we talk about Main Street, it's kind of hard to sit on Main Street if the city, in our terms, is blowing up the calls. And so that's why these grants, speed waves and seatbelts and OWI grants are a way for us to initiate traffic stops, because that's all we're there for. We don't respond calls for service, we are there specifically for that grant, that's why we're getting the thing. So I think if we just continue to educate the public on that, and then you keep telling them, what you are doing, as far as the psychology, and then the 4,000 traffic stops that you guys have initiated this year, I think we will be continuing to head in the right direction.
Thank you. So a couple things, Chief. A little bit on the speeding and reckless driving. My family lives off Highway 31, south of Durand Avenue, and they take wagers on how many times the deputy is gonna pull somebody over, which they can see from their back door. So I think that enforcement does kind of contribute to changing behaviors, and that's something that we want to do. You had mentioned about overtime operations and that, the staffing has improved. So, and you also mentioned about the 6 zones. So I'm wondering, how do you divvy up officers on each of the 4 shifts, correct? You have 4 shifts?
Correct.
So how do you divvy up officers on each of the 4 shifts, and what are the hours of those 4 shifts?
The hours are, let me get this right. There's the first shift that's got, you start at 6 AM and 7 AM. Then the next shift comes in at 10:30, and then after it's 5:30, and 8:30. You have 10-hour shifts.
Okay.
That's how they're usually, there's minimum staffing levels. It's based on calls for service that we do averages, but we have minimum staffing levels. You always want to be above the minimum,
Okay.
and we have overlapping, so they overlap. So at one time, you may have a number of calls, during a busy days. That's just strategically done.
Okay, so then how do you divvy up per zone?
What do you mean?
How many, you said there's 2 of them
There's an officer that's assigned to each of them.
for each shift?
Yeah, for each of them. But it's in most cases, you'll have a 2-person response to every call. Even on traffic stop, you'll have maybe 1 person, then there'll be another squad to come up and back them up, just for safety.
So how do you compare the staffing level between this time this year and this time last year? Are we up how many officers?
Since it's out of this year, last year, it's actually improved about 12.
Like 12.
Doesn't sound much, but it's 12.
We'll take what we can get. So
You gotta think about, say, half of them would be off, so that's only six, because we have 10-hour shifts, it's 4 on, 4 off. That's the stage.
So on
The
average,
patrol,
how many hours per week of overtime do you think each of our officers are working?
it all varies, because officers, depending who it is. Some of our officers like a lot of overtime, but there are procedures that we have to follow
Okay.
based on contractual. There are also officers that can work off duty. They have their own individual part-time outside employment, that's what's allowed by the city. That's, they sign up individual contracts. Whether it might be with the school, might be with some restaurant, might be at some festival hall, but they're throughout the city there.
So we don't really have an average of how much overtime an individual officer is working, because the overtime really, I think, is what had contributed to low morale in years past. So I'm wondering if bringing up our staffing levels has reduced the overtime that's required and improved morale.
Well, I'll ask Officer Cruz Ortiz to see if he can answer the morale. Morale is everyone's responsibility. That's just the top man. How are things?
So, a few years back, we had a lot of people leave the department, be retiring, whatever the case was. And we did have a lot of forced overtime. So the forced overtime is what gets people upset, right? So like if you're coming on 4 days off and they're like, hey, my God, we're short, like, oh my God, we're short, now we have to force it over, right? But since then, it has changed where our forces are not as often. Like the chief said, we do have our minimums that we have to meet, so unfortunately, it comes to a time where like, hey, you don't have enough manpower, you have to stay. But as far as our staffing levels, we've gone up and we're not seeing that many forces. There's volunteer overtime, like special assignments and stuff that we get to take. But as far as like the forced overtime, it's definitely dropped a lot.
Well, thank you for that distinction, because there is a difference. But
Right, and then what would happen is that's why the reason, hence the 4-4, it used to be the 5-2-5, right? And then if you were forced, you only got 1 day off, and sometimes not any days off. So fatigue set in.
Yep.
So this 4-4 was
Yep.
well thought out, this helps out where you get 4 days off, it's kind of nice.
Yep.
And those 10 hours go off quick. I do have a limit on what you can work on each day, no more than 16 hours.
no more
'Cause you
than
got-
16 hours.
16 hours total. So it'd be 6 hours overtime, because you need to get rest. And if you work more than 16 hours, then there's a possibility that you're gonna have the day off, sir. Just because you're fatigued, and I can't have fatigued officers out there. In that case, I'll put out an alert for overtime. Somebody feel that also needs to take.
Okay. Another question is, in your report, is there a number of shots fired?
I do have more shots.
In that number of shots fired, does that include calls when you do not find casings? Or when you
These are-
can't really determine where the shots were coming from? Is it a call?
My shots fired report with that individual where we can find cases. Not the calls for service.
Okay,
Because you can get 5 calls for service for the shots fired for
Okay.
1 incident. Which is not gonna be an accurate number, so I do cases, I go by cases. We also have the alert system, the sound detection system that will alert us to a certain area. And we'll find cases, but I never got to receive the call for service. You get those instances with, some people may be immune to not calling the police. But I do have those numbers here. if you'd like me to-
no,
I do have those.
that was just a
Yeah.
generic question I
And I-
had,
Sure.
is if calls for shots fired counted as shots fired, or if you had to find casings.
If I find cases, yes, but we do keep them under calls for service.
Okay,
So if I have 5 calls for 1, it's 5 calls. That's part of our 55,000 calls, it's going water.
Okay, can I expand on that if
Yeah.
you don't mind? Okay, so I think this had come up a couple different times. So you would see, and I hate to use social media as an example, but the scanner page would report, you have people calling you, there were, patrol officers over here. Someone might have yellow tape up or what have it. But then you call someone at PD and it's not on the shift commander report. So is that because they're not finding the casing, so then it's not on the shift commander report the next day?
Well, the ship commander reports are certain crimes that go on those reports, those are daily reports that are done with the ship commander. And it's something that's major that there's a required to put on to require.
So you're not putting those on there then?
What's that?
shots fired,
Shots fired are done.
if they find a casing.
Yes, if they find it.
But if they don't find one, it's not on
5:30
there.
That's true.
Okay, so that's plays into the data on how
Well.
the percentages and everything that are calculated.
When we find cases, it's a case number. That goes with it. So it's an actual report, whether a person's hit, whether a house is hit or not. And they find cases in the road. Where people just shoot up their guns and you find cases and nothing's hit. That is a report. Now, call for services, you may have 5 calls for service for one incident. Or you may, at night, you may hear a call, shots fired, but you don't know exactly where it's coming because it's nighttime. Could be from across town or 10 blocks away.
Mhm.
People still call it in, and we'll still go into that area. And if where the call came from, we can't find anything, then we can't find anything. But next day, somebody, hey, we found something. We
Right.
tied it together.
Another random question that I had is in regards to the alternate street parking
Yeah.
that we've had this discussion
Yeah,
many
yeah.
times last winter. And the reason we had it is for a couple of reasons is, you know, there was a time we were all very much conditioned to move our cars. And that kind of slipped away maybe during COVID, maybe when that happened. But the concern was because we weren't enforcing the alternate street parking, alternate side street parking, we had a problem with the snow plowing. I wanted to tell you that I noticed in the areas that I drive through at 6 a.m, I am seeing tickets on cars, which not. So is that the CSOs that are doing that, or is that the
Well, our
officers?
CSOs are full staff, and that's one of the places where we had a hard time hanging out, but now we've had a good group with us hanging out. But our officers on late shift at nights aren't doing that.
What's full staff for the CSOs?
5,
5. So some work
they're all 3 shifts,
on 3
what
shifts.
would be traditional.
That's something new, isn't it? Because I
That's just
remember when we
nighttime.
first created the CSO,
Yeah.
that was
It
just,
used to be responsibility of the night shift. For the street stores, but they have that responsibility as well as our CSO at night. And I'll just tell you how many tickets we've written, this year through the end of July. Little over 18,134, we're 0.3% up from last year.
is that for street storage?
This is just for just all parking that's safe. For street storage this year, 11,440 tickets issued compared to 9,600 last year at this time. So there's a difference, so that's gone up, and maybe it's complaints from you.
Well, I hope that's not it. But I think.
No, we have a lot of, but no, you are correct, we've had a number of, well, the staffing helps, of course, but we had 2 snowstorms that were pretty major this year.
Yep,
And we worked in collaboration with DPW and just because we want to get the streets swept, of course. And so when we had 2 tow companies, it doesn't help us now. I think we have 3. So all that comes, it takes about 45 minutes to tow. So when you got tow vehicles, it takes time. Now we're working with the county. The county, you guys got 9 vendors. We have now 3. But I know Captain, we're working with, just trying to get another vendor. So we're able to move cars a lot faster.
well, I'm hoping with the ticketing for the alternate street parking will condition people, so you won't have to write any tickets for that, and people will just comply, and in that way, we can determine when vehicles are abandoned, because I'm seeing a lot more abandoned vehicles on the street that, you know, we have to call in to get them tagged. And then the other part is, you know, during winter, when we have snowstorms, that the plows can come through and get those streets cleared, so people can get about their business and off to work. So I want to commend you on that. I want to tell you, I have been seeing that. And my last question
Yeah.
is, last year you had brought up the ordinance that says that the PD needs to report to the committee of the whole.
Yes,
And I think it's been about a year since we've done that,
it's done, by ordinance, it's done in February.
in February.
Yeah, but it could be at any time to,
I
we
don't,
have a whole, anytime to all this request.
I don't think we did that this February,
No,
so,
we didn't,
so,
but I think I got something coming up with committee of a whole. I'm not curious.
yeah, you did the committee of the whole before,
But I
so,
got something coming up in September with committee of a whole, I've had something to do with crime, I'm not sure.
oh, you do, so that we'll just,
And I'm more than
Yep.
happy.
yep,
I'll
no,
talk
that's
about
fine.
this all day.
If that's scheduled, that's my time. No, you're done now. No. Any other questions?
But I've been one of them that would report out anytime to all those asked at meetings. I know that, about this all the time.
I know you do
And
too.
we're working on a website, and I'm thinking about putting this stuff out there too.
Thank
So
you.
that way the city's working on its websites for each department. So, and once we get ours up and running, there'll be a tab where you can hit five stats, sponsorship, anything like that.
Well, I appreciate how approachable you are and how responsive you are to all the requests that get made of you. And I especially appreciate our officers, both male and female, in our police, in our police force, what they do. They cannot be commended high enough.
I think that they do a excellent job. It's unbelievable, the team that we have. I think there's a lot of laughs, a lot of good banter, and a lot of camaraderie, and that's important. I think we have a hard job to do. We really do, and it's and we have a lot of support from the citizens. A lot of support with each other. That it's good to see that our officers want to maintain their health and want to respond to people and treat people with dignity and respect, no matter what condition they're in.
Well, when you attend your next roll call, please forward the public safety and licensing, deep appreciation for all the work that they do, trying to keep us all safe.
I will.
It's a tough job and we appreciate that. Are there any other questions or comments?
I was gonna make a comment. I'll shoot you an email with about parking, problems in the metro area. And I won't go into it, take up our time here, but there are some issues. And they're gonna get worse as the snow, the weather changes, and that, it should be alluding to, that's what I'm concerned about.
And just to let you know, this school week's coming up, and we have special operation going out there around our schools. Because I get a lot of complaints about just the schools, because people dropping off their kids.
And Mark.
So we have an operation going on. Actually, so I'm hoping people are listening, so abide by the rules and rules of the road.
Absolutely.
Well, so far they've been good. My daughter started August 14th, so.
I'll read it. Usually.
But maybe, yeah, I missed it on the social media page, but do you do like a weekly or monthly, like RPD responded to this many files?
No.
And
We
is
don't,
that something?
we've thought about that. It's different from, I know the fire does it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
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 the fire does, but ours is a little different, because our calls, we respond a lot. We respond, 55,000 a year. That's, and we can put that type of stuff all the time,
maybe this on the website or something.
yeah. But we do put out, things of, on our Facebook page about prevention, crime prevention, things that slow people down. We'll put out parking restrictions, street storage, snowstorm, warming centers, you name it, our COP officers. Have a number of events, community events that, along with neighborhood watch, safe and sound, that happens with the county services too, that happen at the COP house, just for education as well.
Okay, do we need a motion on this item? Cause I know the chief will talk all night if we let him.
All.
A motion to receive and file.
Motion to receive that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Chief, I think you're on for the next one.
Yes, I promise not to talk this one.
okay.
Something to keep going, get their items heard and.
Item 0770-25. Communication on behalf of Joanne LaGap requesting beat police Thursday through Saturday, 10 p.m. through 3 a.m. in the downtown.
Hey, so I don't know if you're familiar with the request that was made by Joey Lagasher last meeting.
Conversations with him, I had meetings with the Downtown Machine Corporation, some of the business owners last week. So I meet with them, I used to meet with them quarterly, but then again, I see them here and there, but we actually met. I want to thank them for expressing their concerns. I know that we have multiple areas of focus throughout the city. In square miles, downtown is one of our main points. We need, I truly believe that downtown, we need businesses to drive downtown. We want people to come downtown. We want people to spend their money downtown, or at least I do. Our research deployment is driven by data analysis and actionable intelligence. We know that on Fridays and Saturday nights, we're gonna get people downtown, whether it's on along Main Street, we're along Sixth Street, we're on Seventh Street. You know, the people like to gather around certain bars, like sometimes block out. So I put an emphasis and our officers have deployments during the weekends downtown. We also have our new COP office downtown as well. And Emily Draves does an excellent job visiting the businesses, holding the prevention seminars, talk to businesses, listen to concerns, taking action, writing tickets. I know we have an issue with congregation downtown. People get upset about whether they're homeless people or not. Homelessness is not a crime. It's an issue that, again, as I spoke earlier, it's one of these issues that a lot of urban issues deal with, and we're one of them. And we're challenging it, and I think a lot of it has to do with the limited resources that have available to them, or not enough resources. They're out there, but not enough. And whether it's a mental health or AODA or homelessness in and of itself. There are focal points and we understand that. But we can issue what we can from our point, but we also need other agencies to step up to help us out.
So to elaborate on that, you had meetings with DRC regarding that. What are their efforts on?
Well, their efforts are very similar to mine. I mean, we have to have services for them. Their complaints were also about, I know that the lights can all stay green, so it comes a little drag racing along Main Street. Speed limit is 25, there's 2 speed limit signs. One on Fifth, one over just by State Street. Yeah. There are some speed boards there as well. That hopefully slow people down. That's been an issue since I've been here. The crosswalks, one of the complaints I've got was that you can press the button at crosswalk, but there's no audio that says don't walk, or it just has some sort of beacon on it. That's a complaint too. I said, well, those are other concerns those are beyond mine. Those are DPW, and there's probably some funding issues there as well.
So does DRC still hire security? During
Well, they
prime
were
time?
at the time, said they don't do that anymore, but there was a question that was posed to me about how can they take that money that they once had for the downtown security and shift it over to the police department. I said, well, there's a process. Choosing to finance committee and then through you guys and to accept monies like that.
So why wouldn't they go back to hiring some security? Because security used to report to the Public
That's-
Safety and Licensing Committee.
You'd have to ask.
Okay, so you haven't had that conversation with them.
No, they just told me that they don't.
Any questions for the chief?
I have
Alder Kelly?
What are the hours of the COP house now?
It varies, it does vary. It depends
That
on the day.
particular one varies?
Yes,
Okay.
and they all do too, because sometimes they do work weekends as well, having events on weekends. So they do vary.
I mean, I know, and there's maybe a misconception then, that this is more of a 9 to 5 type of a thing. You know, and I had a conversation, with, Ortiz, who runs that particular location, and, you know, he kind of had stated that, he was kind of waiting for direction from, you know, from us to tell, him what it was that was needed. So I guess, you know, I had requested the data reports, which was part of the conversation that we had here last time. And, you know, if the need really is nighttime, I mean, would you guys be opposed to pivoting and putting a little bit more of that attention at the nighttime hours on those days that they're requesting?
Well, we get a lot of requests for a lot of things. And what I use data. Actionable data I can use, which is intelligence, time of day, hours a day, when things are occurring. I know that at 2 or 3 in the morning on an early Saturday, early Sunday, the bars are like now. You mix alcohol and egos, you're gonna have some problems. And we have a number of bars downtown. I know that during the week, during the days, there's not one specific day that we have people congregating, asking for money, begging for money. Some people are open intoxicants, they hang out over at the plaza, military plaza between the library and the Memorial Hall. I know they hang out over at 8th and Main there at the church center. So we do have some things in operation there. So it all depends on time of day. And I know that on early Saturday morning, early Sunday morning, over on 6th and Park, people like to gather. we were successful in changing the food truck hours because food truck were attracting some of that, those channels. We haven't had that much that there this year, which is I think a good thing. It's good for downtown. But we base it on what, I mean, I do have actually people that do walk downtown during business week. People don't see that. I do have cars that stop cars. But I never hear that. You know, we do conduct traffic control downtown, just like any other part of the city, but we are downtown. I live downtown. I go 25 miles an hour just to see what it's like when people complain. And that's a pretty good clip, believe it or not. I know that the light changes over there on Fourth and Main a lot more now than before. Whether they did something, I don't know, or if it's based on race, I do not know that. But it changes. So just I get a lot of requests for this and that, you know, why don't you do this and do that? I have to be strategic in how I deploy my resources. And I use data to help out on that. I listen to what others, I do listen to what people say. It'd be great to have a beat downtown every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We do have people downtown. We have people working downtown every Friday and Saturday.
So how do we solve for this to get this request through?
Do I have people downtown?
To,
You can
yeah,
ask.
I mean, and I don't wanna speak for the alderman of the district, but I mean, that was their request, was those
Yeah.
particular days and times. So what's the process that we need to do to get that?
You can ask. And I don't guarantee anything. You can, there's nothing wrong with asking. I look at everything. When are we needed the most? Where and when are we needed the most? I know that on Fridays and Saturday nights downtown, police are needed the most. Downtown, especially around July closing. Cause it usually happens right around 1 o'clock until about 3 AM. That's when we're needed the most time.
Is that a seasonal thing, chief?
It's generally because it's warm out. Come winter time, you don't have this. But I understand what you're saying, and if I were to answer every request, I want a police officer here, then I'd have to have one on every corner. I have to use some sort of strategy here. Beats are great. And we do have people that walk downtown.
Anything from the committee members?
This, for me, it's a little bit hard because I know the job. So, I know you can't guarantee having officers readily available, during this time frame. So at least knowing that it's a priority, for me, I think that's what matters. As the all.
Alder Pete?
I mean, do you get complaints from your constituents? Like, what are you? I mean,
Yeah, I mean. Namely, the person that's on our agenda, yes. And as I've explained to them, again, like you just said, if you were to honor every request to be a police officer, same thing with the sheriff's office. Are the requests that we get extra attention that people submit to us. If we were to abide by every extra attention, we'd be sitting in people's driveways. We'd be sitting in front of every school. We'd be sitting in front of every business. It's just not feasible because we don't have the manpower to do it. But I think as long as you understand what you do clearly, that prioritizing the area, that's all that we can do. And when calls for service come out from the downtown area, there's a heavy presence. We have response, and then when we are able to sheriff's office to assist, then we assist.
I can assure that downtown is one of my primary areas of it. No doubt about it.
Alder Pete, did you have something?
Yes, unfortunately, I'm sitting between next to and across from two officers that know their positions well. So especially Alderman pretty much summed it up, so did the chief. But what I would add is that based on especially what both of them already said, at this point, we might want to monitor it, but I don't think any other action is necessary at this point, because based on the resources and the strategic targeting of the police department based on the data that they're constantly collecting. They have things under control. We can monitor it, and if things get out of hand, look at it down the road. But at this point, I don't think that any action needs to be taken. That's my opinion.
If
Is
I
that a
can add,
motion? Is that, Alder P, is that a motion?
Okay, yes.
What exactly are we motioning?
What would your motion be?
My motion would be to defer item, I think, 077025. And do some more research, look at it. I'm not saying table it or kick it to the side, but let's look at it later when we have more data ourselves to look at, and we can ask Keith and Alder to come back in. But I think we should give what they're doing a chance at this point.
So that was-
So I'd make a motion to defer.
We have a motion to defer. Oh, is there a second to that motion? Motion dies for lack of a second. So,
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Can I clarify?
Sure, go
I know
ahead.
you wanted to say something. I
Yeah,
just wanted to hear what you had to say.
we have a number of events that happen now. Whether it's the Haymarket on Thursday or the First Fridays, or the party entertainment, or all the parades or the 4 or 5 parades that occur downtown. Whether it's the riverboat races, we have, whether it's Festival Hall, there is a police presence at every one of those events. No doubt about it. There's a police presence.
Yeah,
I'm not right.
I feel very involved.
I understand, Joey Legas's concern in downtown, but I also hear from all over town, on Taylor Avenue, on Lathrop Avenue, on Durand Avenue, Washington Avenue, at bar closing time, there's an issue everywhere. And I would love to give, special treatment to downtown, but I'm afraid we can't do that. We don't have the staff for it, and I think if it's an issue for downtown, they can do what they've done in the past, and that would be for DRC to hire some security that could be a liaison to the police department to advise them as to any issues that are taking place. I think it's more of an issue for DRC than it is for the police department, because the limited resources that we have to be divvied up throughout the city. So,
Bars along Douglas, Lathrop.
yeah,
All
all of those, yeah,
And you know, a lot of this activity goes around bars.
correct. And as long as we're licensing cars, we're gonna have these
What's
issues.
the deal?
I
Alder
have a
Kelly.
question. So just reading what their original ask was, is they're willing to spend the funds out of the DRC to have off-duty officers. That's how it was originally
Correct.
stated to us at the last meeting. So if I heard you correctly, you said that process would be something that you would possibly work with them on
Yes.
and move that to finance?
That's correct. That's how we have to go. Anytime that the department accepts money from outside,
Okay.
there's a process. Obviously, to go through the finance and to you guys.
So I recall correctly that Joy LeGaff did say that DRC had $18,000. They did not want to invest in security for themselves, but perhaps that $18,000 would come to the police department for extra enforcement during those hours that he listed.
That's a conversation I had with DRC.
Yep.
And there's a process.
So DRC would have to put in a request to the council to be referred to the finance committee regarding if.
And it would, there'd be some discussion. There's a
Yeah.
lot. Sheriff, city attorney, a lot of that stuff. It's just for that, or can they just hire?
Right, I just didn't want it to die, so if they needed an alder to sponsor, maybe direct them to Alder Frazier.
We can work on that, we can talk about that for sure.
Okay, I just didn't want it to go away.
Go to the city attorney's then. Question whether if they're hiring officers, then we're concerned with it. But if there's some other, they're just excited with it.
Okay,
So is there a way to phrase that motion? Because I don't think we can take an action directing DRC to do something. As far as this communication. if
This
we-
communication goes, would it just be? So we can't give them an order to do them. So would it be received and file or how would?
Can we refer it to finance?
I can't think of another, you want to defer it for another?
No, like refer it to finance if that's the direction it's headed,
We
or we can't do that.
the council would have to do that. Well, we could do that in a motion. I just don't know how that would work because the motion would be asking DRC to do something that they're in discussion.
Well, could we motion to send this item to finance and personnel? And then the chief can talk about that?
And that's go to council.
Well, it could go to council via our report.
Anything that we do here goes to council for final approval. Yeah, so.
If I can interject here, sometimes when we get like part-time outside employment, with professional hall, there are individual contracts, so they'll hire police officers. And they work on a contract with the police, that doesn't go into any type of finance committee or public safety. committee.
Oh,
So
okay.
if they want to hire, it's up to them to hire a police officer,
Okay,
and then they'd be just dedicated
Okay.
to that alone.
Got
Just
it.
like if it would be Walmart hiring
Okay.
us or any other.
That's kind of the direction I was
Yeah,
looking,
yeah.
because the beach used to do that, where Scotty used to pay off
That's
duty officers to come down there
and then be
and,
dedicated just to
Yep.
that.
yeah.
As
Okay.
part-time outside employment.
so then this item itself would, the appropriate motion would be to receive and file.
Motion to receive and file.
Second.
Second.
Seconds. Thank you, Bill.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you so much for your
Thank you,
time this evening,
I'm
Chief.
gonna be here 15 minutes.
We all-
Thank you.
Half hours.
Thank you for coming.
All righty. Okay,
Thank you.
thanks again, Chief. Okay, we get to move on to the next item.
Item 06-25, communication submitting an application for a premise description change for Chart Room Restaurant. LLC DBA Chart Room located at 209 Dodge Street, Racine, Wisconsin, 53402. Jenny Matthew, First District.
Can we take both of these items? Oh, thank you so much for your patience. We're gonna take both at once,
And
if the committee doesn't object.
is item 0773-25. Communication submitting an application for a premise description change to Bridge Tender Tavern LLC DBA. Bridge Tender Tavern located at 303 Dodge Street, Racine, Wisconsin, 53402. Jenny Matthew, First District.
Well, welcome and thanks for your patience.
Thank you, guys.
2 weeks ago, that's
in
okay.
Montana.
Oh, catching elk?
Yeah, we did Sturgis and then we just went on to the Glacier National Park. It was beautiful. And when I got the notice, I'm like, when are you gonna get back in 3 days? Like, we're on a back bike, so.
Isn't Sturgis fish?
Like, Sturgis is the big motorcycle.
Yes.
Okay, so can you tell the committee what it is you intend to do with both these premises?
Yes, so we currently have a description on the premise of where alcohol can be brought. And unfortunately, it's incorrect. If you look at the current one, it says like the bridge tender that we can. Our customers can drink on the deck and then they can drink on the dock. Well, how do you get to the dock unless you're like go gadget? with really long legs, you can't even get there, right? So like right now it says you can only do it on the deck or the dock. So we needed to say that we can get it to the docks. So we would like to extend our property or extend the description to include like to the property line, which is honestly like when you get over 15 feet. It goes right outside of that.
Okay, and the same thing for the chart room?
Correct. For the chart room, we were adding on, there was one change to chart room, and it was, I think it was to add the dock on, because the docks were only on the bridge tenders. So to add the dock on to chart room as well. This all stemmed from ETF came with stuff. And it spent about 5 hours with us on an occasion, and they actually suggested that we go to you guys and ask if we could have them overlap. So for ETF, that was completely acceptable, but for racing standards, it's not. They have to go by property lines, so you
Okay.
can't. What I was told was that alcohol license can't if it's bridge tender property line, you can't extend it into charter, because ideally. We would be able to use that grassy area from both establishments, it's. Realistically, very hard to have somebody like, and we do have a sign up now, so that was adequate for HDF. That we put signs up because we share that property, right, like. It's just a big grassy area, there's a bunch of picnic tables, so we do have signs up that say, if you bought your alcohol from Bridge Tender, please don't go past this imaginary line. And the same thing, the chat room is going the other way. HF's fully aware that. It might not be completely possible, but as long as we're being cognizant of it and informing our customers, and we took our steps to put the signage up, that they would be okay with. You know, us choosing it, and they actually guided us with the language on that. Since Racine won't let us combine the two.
Okay, in our packets on page 25 and on page 30, we have a map of both the bridge tender and of the chart room. The same map for both. One is outlined in red, the other is in yellow, so. If I'm hearing you correctly, what you're asking, or what ATF suggested to you, is that the total area that's in the red and the total area that's in the yellow. Be included in your premise description
For both,
for serving alcohol.
correct. And then when we spoke to the city of Racine, they said that it's not possible, that the license can only extend to your. Your parcel. So
Okay.
one parcel ends, you know, from the ends here, the other one starts right here. We can't like. Combine them, we have to keep them separate. But right now, the way that it's written, we can't even, our customers can't even go to like their boats with it, because it literally says. Alcohol can be drank on the deck and then the pier for the docks.
But in the map, it's showing the whole parking lot.
I've never seen one of that.
Oh, let me give you a.
So.
Sure.
This is for Sunday, we were red, and then the yellow is charter.
Yep.
So we would like the description to say. Two bridge tenders. Line, an imaginary line, and then charter to go to the other line.
Okay, I guess I'd ask the city attorney on that, because this map does incorporate the parking lot, and I don't know that you can drink in the parking lot.
So the city of Racine has traditionally not allowed licenses to be granted that have premises descriptions, including parking lots, due to concerns over drunk driving and for people serving alcohol. I will say that the city of Racine does not have the ability to legalize drunk driving. It still would be a crime if someone were to have the alcohol and consume it and drive in their car, or to have an open container in their car. If the parking lot was to be included, I do know that there are a few bars that will have, or licensed establishments that have special events outside, that we have licensed parts of parking lots, or when it was very popular to have, or I guess still popular to have outside seating in makeshift parking lot areas that are fenced off, we have licensed that in the past. There's nothing in state law that requires us or prohibits us from licensing parking lots. It just has not been the habit of this committee to do so because of those concerns.
So there would be a way to change the premise without incorporating the parking lot.
Yes, we would have to amend the premises description that is here, because it has, if it were to be parking lots during special events, that could be something. I believe there's a duplicate here, so I was pulling up what the chart room one was. If I could find it.
Here,
Yeah, no, my apologies, the written description in the packet, so I see the
okay,
maps.
so do we know who drew the map? Do we know who drew that map?
Should be a. That's a description.
Received it from a Dan Kaiser, is who we received it from.
Okay,
So it's a
so,
special description of the area for which the permanent extension is sought as parking lots during social events. Grassy area to the east at the tavern.
Well, it currently does include the park.
Yep.
so then, if my memory serves me, this had come before this committee before, and the item was either deferred or denied. for some reason?
When the license was initially applied for back in 2023, there was discussion at a Good Neighbors meeting about having outdoor premises fitting these general descriptions. That was under a different agent. And the Good Neighbors report had indicated concerns about noise. Same with the concerns about consuming alcohol in parking lots, same with consuming alcohol and then operating boats. And because there was a amendment that was to basically be the same thing, encompass, lot line to lot line, and the committee did not adopt that amendment, but adopted the licenses as originally presented, which are what we have here today.
Would you want to say something?
No, I was just gonna say that currently the parking lots are included for special events and. We traditionally don't have people that are just drinking in the parking lot, but we do car shows where we close off the parking lot and all the classic cars park. And then people will then walk with their beer, they're looking at their cars, but it's not. It's not an everyday thing that we have people just hanging out on our blacktop, because we do have picnic tables and grass and all of that, it's for special events, so we basically the car shows.
So under a previous agent, or back when the chart room was open the first time before it closed and it was renovated and whatnot, I believe that the premise, the whole area was licensed. Because I know that there was alcohol served on the deck, on the dock, we could take drinks down on the dock. So. And I think the same thing for the bridge tender, but it was called something different then. John's Dock, yeah. So any questions or discussion from the committee?
Are we just looking to extend it to the docks, since the parking lot is already included? Or are we?
So you can read off the full description so that we know what they are currently. Chart room, the specific license premises description is tavern property, 4,382 square feet with additional outside deck of about 1,000 square feet, storing beer, wine, and alcohol on premise, parking lot during special events. So that's for the chart room. And then currently the bridge tender has cavern properties, 2,409 square feet with additional outside deck of about 1,000 square feet, storing beer, wine, and alcohol on premises. Boat slips for consumption, purchase, and carry out. So I believe that they are trying to harmonize the two, because currently the chart room has the ability to have special events in their parking lots. The bridge tender does not, and then vice versa for the dock slopes.
Okay.
Is I believe what the request is, if I'm understanding correctly.
Correct, and to be completely honest, we have been doing that for the entire time, and when I went to renew the license this year, so I became an agent, and we're feeling like it's not right, and then when ATF came, it was even more so brought to our attention that they could, on a technicality, get us, our customers had no way to actually get to their boats.
Well, if we don't want to get you.
And ATF was like, it's supposed to be like this really big scary thing, and they were phenomenal, they were awesome, they could have done so many things, and they just gave us a lot of education, and they were phenomenal, and so I'm super excited about them. They're not really scary.
Well, good, you just put government in a whole new light. So do we have any kind of a motion on these two items?
To approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve both items, which would be 0772 and 0773. Any discussion on that motion? Alder Fisher,
City attorney said we have to.
do them separate?
Move to approve 0772-25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve 772, the premise change for the chart room. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Motion passes. Next,
Move to approve 0773-25.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the premise description change for the Bridge Tender Tavern. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay. All right, thank you. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for your patience. I know you sat there for over an hour and I appreciate that. We need padded seats here for people.
Chart room, we could move over around 10 or 11, but we're trying to stay over. Oh, yeah, 100% our pieces now. Flash burgers are great. Thank you guys.
So evidently this gentleman is from either one. All right, next item, please.
Item 0804-25, communication on behalf of the city, submitting an application for a change of agent with a Class A permanent malt beverage license for Speedway LLC DBA Speedway 4451 located at 2110 South Green Bay Road, Top 48, agent 14th District.
Thank you, Mr. Fortier, for your patience.
48 and 48.
40.
I go by 40.
What did I say, 48?
I think you said 48, she was saying 48. Yeah, it's fine.
Fortier?
How's it pronounced?
My brother goes by 48, I go by 4 tier.
How about we just call you Fort?
Answer them both anything. And I work at a speedway, we don't do speedway, there's a police. Yeah.
Okay, so you are just requesting a change of agent.
Correct.
Okay, do you want to tell us about why that's taking place?
We actually put in the paperwork 2 years ago with my name because the agent that we had, Millie or Kamala Harris, still lives in the scene, but had moved to another store. When the paperwork came back, it had my name on it, or her name on it still. This year, we put it in again with my name on it, and then when it came back again with her name on it, I called our licensing people in Texas and I said, you know, I'm really sort of concerned about this. So we still have her name on it, not mine. Because if we have problems, this is gonna be a real nightmare. So then, she got a hold of the city to do a change of agent paperwork. And then, I wanna say, 2 weeks ago, I got a letter to appear at this meeting, but it was addressed to somebody else. So we again had to get a hold of the city to make sure that we didn't have a screw up of the paper. So that, I don't know what's in my.
Well, thank you for your perseverance.
Well, I do try to do things legally. I mean, I learned something today that I didn't know at the city clerk's office. And with the assistant clerk here, we had a conversation earlier today. And he taught me something I wasn't aware of, so that is always good. Previously, I ran a Pizza Hut on Washington Avenue for 14 years, quite a while ago, but I had a liquor license there for a while. I also had the liquor license at the Speedway on Emerson for a period of time. I was an area manager with Pizza Hut and held the liquor license for Delafield for about 6 months during their construction period, which is a good one. Been a bartender at a bar in Mount Pleasant and one in Kenosha many years ago. So I've got quite a bit of experience there. I've gone through the class a few times. I did apply for a bartender license this year already
I see that.
and do have that approved. So I don't know what else you want to know. I probably talked too much.
Well, you deserve to after all the time you waited. Any questions from the committee members for Mr. Fortier?
Fortier.
Seeing none, we'd entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the change of agent for Mr. Fortier. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We have an extra voting member. Thank you. This will go to the council, the clerk's office can tell you what's gonna happen.
This is gonna go to common council. The next common council is going to be on the 3rd of September. I believe. And that will be back at City Hall, but we'll contact you to let you know, correct? That he asked for.
Do I need to be
No,
at that?
he does not.
He does not have to be here,
Not
sorry.
Okay.
here.
No,
Okay,
And then-
maybe I'll be there.
will he be mailed his,
So then what'll happen is we normally call, for you to pick, the packets, but then you would have to bring whatever. So,
I did.
because when we did the renewal, we did it under a different agent because there was a change of an agent originally submitted. It was just a renewal packet. So anytime there's a renewal packet, we have to go by what agent we had. So the change of agent wasn't.
I don't think our licensing person on our end was aware of that, because they handle. all
No,
of
that's when she contacted me and I
it. Okay,
explained
so
it.
you're the one that dealt with Shamika.
Bob was, yeah. So what ended up happening is I will contact you when everything is ready to be picked up. But then, the previous licenses that we actually gave at renewal time, those just need to be brought in and then we basically.
Okay, now, does this change all of them as far as the cigarettes, the alcohol, all down the line? Okay,
It would be under your name,
okay, I'm
okay?
sorry, first time through.
All together, all in the correct name.
Can I get clarification, because you said September the third, but September the second is Tuesday,
I'm sorry, it's September the second.
yes,
My mistake.
Okay. I just make sure, thank you.
Appreciate that.
I was losing it for a second.
So you're good to go. Thank you very much for your
Thank you. It's
patience.
been a very informative hour and 15 minutes. It's only good.
You're
Feel free to
welcome
stay.
anytime. Please take your time. All righty, next item, please.
I'm sorry, item 0805-25. Communication submitting a new application for a 2025-2026 motor vehicle towing license. Floyd and Sons Towing Recovery Inc., DBA Floyd and Sons Inc., located at 1525 Durand Avenue, 10th District.
Any issues on this one? I don't think anybody has to appear for this one, do they? No. So all the paperwork's in order?
Yes.
You don't want to swear anybody in?
Do not.
Okay.
Second.
We have motion a second to approve the application for the motor vehicle toy license for Floyd and Sons. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. All righty, next item.
Item 0812-25. Communication submitted an application for a public passenger business license, B&B package service. DBA B&B cabs located at 1409 Grange Avenue, Romy Dodson, owner, 11th District. Do you want to read the next one too? Just so they go together.
Sure,
And
thank you.
then item 0813-25. Communication submitted an application for a public passenger driver's license for Romy Dawson, B&B cabs.
We did receive a letter that asked for deferral for this.
Could I also make a correction? It's 1409 Grange is actually 13th district.
I'm sorry?
It's 13th, it says 11th district.
Okay. So you would say the first office for the.
Third.
Okay.
So I believe we had a motion and a second to defer these two items. Any discussion on either of those?
The motion did.
Oh,
No, we were just.
oh, I'm
talking.
hearing voices then.
Yeah. We said we had a letter from clerk. I'll motion to defer.
Okay. So there was, I didn't hear a second. That's, thank you. We have a motion second to defer these two items. Any discussion on those two motions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Motion's passed. All righty, moving right along. And Mr. Marquardt.
Item 0691-25, communication on behalf of the city's, communication requesting appearance of Peter Marcotte for a new operator's license, 10th District.
Mr. Marcotte, would you like to come up? So do now we get to swear somebody in?
Yes, that's what we do. You could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Thank you. You can put your hand down if you can state your full name.
Peter M. Marcotte.
And the reason you're here, sir, is,
Renewal of my, bartender's license. I really don't need a bartender. I work for Arby's Liquor on Lathrop,
okay,
and the only reason that they want me to have a bartender license is because I work by myself on Sunday.
So what we really need from you, Mr. Marcotte, was something indicating your rehabilitation. And I believe we have that from,
Yeah, that was a letter, and then I also had it corrected by my manager because we had whited out another person's name by mistake, the attorney did. So here's the correct.
anything from the
The
committee?
letter's 70, page 77.
Yeah. So we have one item for the rehabilitation. Is that sufficient for the committee? Did you have any questions for Mr. Marcotte? So at Arby's Liquor, you just serve
I just-
packaged alcohol,
That is it, that is.
no mixed drinks, nothing.
Check IDs.
Yeah. Anything from the attorney's office?
Yes, so this is, I'll kind of explain a little bit of, what this sheet is. Mr. Marcotte was flagged because he has a pending, misdemeanor OWI third offense. That is still, not resolved. So under Wisconsin's arrest record discrimination statutes, we cannot hold pending offenses until the resolution of the case, because the case has not been approved yet. With these, there are a few exceptions involving crimes against life and crimes against children. But other than that, we cannot hold charges against someone, only convictions. What the options would be due to the ongoing case would either to defer until the case is going to be resolved. I don't do criminal law, but looking at it at the CCAP record, it looks to be a very new case that probably won't resolve in, 2 weeks or a month. The other option would be to approve the license, and then the next time the renewal comes up, if there is a conviction, it'll get flagged and he will be brought back here.
Anything from the committee?
So. You said it's just for Sundays?
No, actually, I work Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday, but I work alone Sunday.
Which is why they would into
That the license basically, yes, in case anything goes wrong, covered, yeah. I can show the police something.
Or what hours do you work Sundays?
On Sunday, I work from 9 to 6, I open and close the store.
And about how often do you see, people buying alcohol?
How often? Yeah.
That wasn't tackle, right?
It's on Sunday, it starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. I can give you rough sales.
No.
Basically, I go anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 on Sunday. It begins at 9 o'clock. The worst part for me is at 5:30 when I'm getting ready to close and people want to come in. Like I said, I'm by myself. We have 2 doors, so I can't leave the counter, shut the door if I have a line. Other than that, it's just steady, communication with people.
And then last question, how many people do you work with?
During the week, my managers, and I work Wednesday and Saturday, that's the Charlotte shift. Sunday, I work home.
Okay.
Is Mr. Patel your manager or is he the owner?
Actually, Jagdish Patel is the owner.
Okay.
Vipul Patel is the manager.
Okay,
The brother was.
well, I would make a motion to approve.
Yeah, make motion to approve.
We have a motion and a section to approve the bartender's license, the operator bartender's license.
Yes, so
Yeah. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Sorry.
Opposed?
No,
Motion passes. So
what is it, vote of common council for final approval, which is the second, thanks for the correction, 2nd of September. If everything's good to go, we'll mail you out the license to the address on your application.
Okay.
Okay. And you do not need to appear for the common council.
thank you for your patience here tonight.
Have a good night.
Thank you, you too. All righty, next item, please.
Item 0819-25, communication, requesting the appearance of Kimberly Binder for a new operator's license.
Hey, Ms. Binder?
I believe she's not in.
Oh. This is the first time we've invited her in. A motion to defer would be appropriate.
Motion to defer.
Motion a second to defer till the next meeting. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Getting close to that. All right, next item, please.
Item 0820-25, communication requesting the appearance of Juan Ortega for a new operator's license.
Oh, here we go, Mr. Ortega.
This hasn't our last audience member.
We have to get padded seats here, that's for sure. Okay, I think the city attorney would like to swear you in.
You can raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You can put down your hand and state your full name.
So I'm looking at the wrong one here. So the reason that you have been called in is because you're disqualified for guideline number 7 for providing material false statement regarding a misdemeanor or felony in the last 10 years. Do you want to tell us what that is about?
Yeah, so, just when I was applying for my bartending license, I seen that, I thought I did read it, it did say that for people that had a felony, but I don't have a felony, I don't have a disorderly conduct misdemeanor. I didn't know if I had to put that information and provide it.
Okay, so you believe that that was a misdemeanor?
That's what I had,
Is a misdemeanor?
yeah, on my file. I got charged with the felony, but it got dropped to a misdemeanor, and that's what it closed out to be.
Any questions from the committee?
so could you, the denial was for falsification on the application?
Yes, so, Mr. Ortega has a misdemeanor, but the application has, states, have you ever been convicted of any offenses? He circled no, he does have a misdemeanor conviction for disorderly conduct with the use of a dangerous weapon enhancer. That would typically not be a disqualifying misdemeanor, but because of the omission on the application, he is here.
Okay, and for his statement, he misunderstood. Did anybody assist you with that application?
No.
No? Okay, well, it looks like we have a couple letters here. Where is it you're gonna bartend?
What was that?
Where is it you will be bartending?
Actually, at chart room, we're gonna just here, over there, sitting here.
Okay,
They've been over there supervising me.
You've been there for about a year.
Was that?
You've been there for about a year.
No, I just started recently.
How long was that?
I wanna say about a few weeks ago.
well, I have not seen 3 letters like this before. Yeah, yeah. Any other questions or comments from the committee? Do we have a motion?
Second.
We have a motion, a second to approve the bartender's license for Mr. Ortega. Any discussion on that motion?
Although it was an omission, on the application. I think that you have demonstrated, especially the letters of rehabilitation, your strive to move on and make yourself better, and I don't see it necessary to hinder you, for that, so that's why I'm in favor of this.
Thank you for that.
That you service people who. I really shouldn't be thinking.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, just cause, you know, they come in and try to combat it, and I don't like always talk to coworkers and it just means that we're trouble. We don't like de-escalate the situation if possible.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I think you heard from the clerk what will happen.
Okay, yeah.
Did you? You would
Yeah.
like the clerk to repeat it.
Yep, so we're just gonna have the common council's the final approval. If it's approved, then they just send it out to them, to you in the mail. There's no appearance required for you.
Okay.
Unless
So
you
much
need-
for your time.
Unless you need it sooner, you can go to the clerk's office.
You can, yeah,
Oh,
you can
okay.
come in if you need
Give
it.
us a call.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your patience. We appreciate that. Ah, hey. Moving rapidly along.
Item 0831-25, communication to review the public dance hall license ordinance.
Okay, I know it's here somewhere. So, Mr. Attorney, what do you have for us?
So I have copies of the city of Kenosha's cabaret license. Oh, perfect, that is even better. The city of Kenosha has a, licensing scheme where they grant a cabaret license, which is the closest equivalent to our public dance hall license to, Class B establishments. They grant those on a, the first one is granted, they call it interim, but it's effectively just a 6-month license, so it automatically comes up for review. And it'll come back before the committee or whatever granting body, they have the committee do it. And basically as a check to say that these Class B and Class C licensed premises to make sure that they are, following the rules as it comes to music. The city of Kenosha has a nice big paragraph on the purpose of the ordinance saying that, live music, live entertainment, live DJ shows really contribute to people showing up to bars and causing problems. And so that's why they have it go through this process. Once they pass that 6-month period, then the licenses will renew for a year. And it's the same kind of licensing scheme that we have. They have a little bit different with demerit points that are really kind of beyond this that are mentioned in there where certain offenses get certain demerit points and that gets referred to different places. We don't have really anything like that. But it is something that this committee, if it wanted, would be in its power to discuss amongst yourself or put in an ordinance request to the city attorney's office if you all believe it were to be something you would want to do. I do want to be very clear, both the city of Kenosha ordinance and any ordinances that we would do could not focus on the content of the music, style of the music. It has to focus on the music itself being the attractive nuisance effectively that are causing problems at the bar, not that, you don't like that they play country music or something like that. It has to be, you're having DJ shows every night of the week, you're a nuisance to your neighbors.
Nice.
I will also say that any revocations, both city of Kenosha and if we were to adopt this, would need to be focused on that music element. It's not that they have broken some part of a different license, whether it be their Class B or some other license that they may hold. It has to be related to the music. So if they're having parking issues and the parking issues are on the days that they're having live music, well, that would be something that this committee or the city of Kenosha would revoke over. It can't just be, we want to punish this bar And this is going to be the way to do it. It has to have that music connection if we're going to go after a music license.
Does this apply only to live music, or does this also apply to jukeboxes or any other electronic music?
Yep, so that's a difference between our ordinance and their ordinance. Our ordinance covers any playing of music, whether that be a live DJ, a recorded DJ, the touch tunes box you see at the bar, live bands, things like that. Basically, anytime there's noise besides talking, they need a dance and public dance hall license. The city of Kenosha only focuses on that live element, so it's live music performances, live dances. I don't know to what extent they actually do live dances. And then live entertainment, like disc jockey shows is one of the examples they use. So theirs focuses on the live aspect, ours focuses on all of the music playing. If this ordinance were to be looked at and revised, we could likely go either way on this. We could move ours to be focusing on the live and exempt out the touch tunes, or take kind of the Kenosha style and include the touch tunes and the recorded music as well.
Okay, any thoughts by the committee?
I like the latter option,
By live dancing, but
not, what?
live dancing. Or,
Well,
but,
the latter part of your option with the last option, the one where you said kind of adopting what they have.
Yeah.
And then also including what we have listed in our ordinance currently. I think that would really help guide us, and I like the fact that they have to kind of come back and show us in 6 months, like, you know, how they're doing and
Yeah.
report back.
Yeah, I will say they do, if this, I will say the city of Kenosha, at that 6 month period, they still need a reason to deny the reissue of the license. They can't just say, you know, we don't like you, or we don't like your business. There has to be a, a reason of, you've shown you can't handle a music license. We're going to deny your renewal. You can continue to have your class B and serve alcohol, but no music.
Do you need a formal request for us to?
So under the city of Racine ordinances, there does need to be a request that goes to the clerk's office, that's forwarded on to the attorney's office, that then would be assigned to me. And then I will communicate with the alder, and I'll take notes as we discuss here, because it sounds like this is something you all want to do. And then discuss with them to get kind of the contours of the ordinance ironed out.
So I'm not understanding this part. So are you saying that we cannot make a motion here for the attorney's office to draft an ordinance regarding?
So the city of Racine ordinances, I believe, let me double check, it's either 2-119, yes, section 2-119. All requests for amendments to the code of ordinances, including new ordinances, shall be in writing, made by the mayor or of the alderman, and shall be delivered to the clerk. So this committee could say that they would like, a certain alder to put it into writing and give it to the clerk, or, express a desire, but the origin of all ordinances, this one included, has to start with the clerk and has to be forwarded by the clerk to the city attorney's office.
What is the date on that ordinance?
That is 4/2/25, so April of this year, it just changed.
Does it have to be an individual, or could it be the committee as a whole?
There's nothing required either way, it just says made by the mayor or of the alderman singular, but there's a statutory construction, you read singular is plural, plural is singular. So it could be by multiple.
sorry.
Okay.
It could be by multiple authors if you so wish.
So we can request here and now that the clerk's office submit a communication to the common council.
Written, correct, written. So an email would suffice, correct?
Email, a little slip of paper with, scribbled on, and it does require writing, but.
Won't this be in our meeting minutes though, that we motion? Isn't that right?
You need a.
That, I mean, that we're getting close to the edge of my knowledge on what constitutes writing.
They would be writing in the meeting minutes that said we motioned to do that, but if it makes it formalities better.
So you are you?
You send me a copy of that ordinance.
Sure.
So we need a formal motion, though, right?
We do need a motion on this item.
Okay,
Do we motion for Alder Frazier to
Then
A
the.
motion for Alder Fraser to submit a request to clerk's office to modify the dance hall ordinance. To there,
On behalf of the committee.
on behalf of the committee,
Mhm.
there we go.
Yeah.
Second, sorry, okay.
And we don't need to get granular with that, right? You know exactly what we're trying
Yep,
to
Yep,
accomplish.
so
Okay.
I will be in contact with Alder Fraser, I'll take a look at the Kenosha ordinances, they have a little bit different of a scheme, I'll try to fit it in best as possible in ours, and we'll discuss and. It'll go through the typical common council referral committee, common council procedure as well, so all of the alders will be able to have a look at it.
Excellent.
Happy with you guys,
Okay, we have a motion, a second, for Alder Fraser to refer a communication to the council or the city attorney's office to draft a new dance ordinance incorporating the city of Kenosha's ordinance, cabaret license.
Did you get that?
Okay, any discussion on that motion?
God, I hope not.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
Send it to Tara, the city clerk, and then she will forward it on to Scott, and will forward it on to me. It's a lot of forwarding, but that is, you gotta follow the procedure.
Alrighty. Moving swiftly along to the next item.
Item 0847 25. Communication, to have attorney Ian Conklin present to the public safety licensing information. The municipalities ordinances in regards to cigarette, tobacco, and vape licenses.
All right, so I took a look at the top 20 municipalities by population. And looked to see what they were doing on cigarette, tobacco, and vaping licenses. Did not look at the city of Milwaukee, they have their own special rules and basically everything. But I did look at 2 through 20, and I provided a packet of all of the ordinances. Towards the end of the packet, there are some select communities in Racine and Kenosha County. Including Caledonia, Mount Pleasant, and Pleasant Prairie. If you look at the packet, most municipalities are not legislating on this area. The city of Green Bay, and many other cities, are just effectively saying, we are following the state law. Their ordinances are a single sentence or a single paragraph saying that they follow the state law and not doing anything further on that. Waukesha is another example. Appleton doesn't even have an ordinance on this area that I could find at least. It was brought up that the city of Kenosha was acting, was treating these as a discretionary license. I spoke with the city of Kenosha deputy city attorney, who is my counterpart. He said that that was not how the city of Kenosha is handling these, that they are handling them as mandatory licenses subject to the few restrictions the state has put forward. I also spoke with the city of La Crosse assistant city attorney, who said the same thing. I called her because her ordinances, or I should say the city of La Crosse's ordinances, do say that they treat theirs in a discretionary manner. So I called her and I said, you know, well, how did you do this? What's your ordinance scheme? How did you get to this conclusion? You know, this is something that our committee would like to do if possible, or has inklings of doing if possible. And she said that that is only in the ordinances because they have a principle in their clerk's office where if you owe money to the city, they do not give you a license until you pay the city the money, whether that be a forfeiture, citation, what have you. They also said that they are updating their ordinances as we speak in this area, and that they have read the statute to be a mandatory statute that absent the few requirements, that they couldn't add more requirements or create, you know, effectively the same schemes that municipalities use for alcohol licenses, saying, you know, I want you to do, you know, X action or Y action, things like that. They've said that they don't do that. None of the other municipalities have any ordinances that allow for that.
We add a tax to a vaping license?
There is a fee, there's a maximum fee set by the statute.
Oh,
But also there is a, as part of the city budgeting process, the fee schedule, there is a fee that is set, that fee could be increased to the maximum, I can tell you what the maximum is. It's not a high maximum, it's not like
Yeah.
the reserve license that are, tens of thousands of dollars. It's now no less than $5 nor more than $100. So.
Alder Kelly?
So I have this email chain from the treasurers that I just took the advantage of sending a blast out there, and I got some different municipalities that reached out to me about this topic. And Kenosha was actually one of them. They asked me to reach out to them because they said they have had to deny some licenses, and I know we were talking about the different reasons why. Material police record and falsifying application, would you be in agreement with that?
Yes, absolutely. Those are requirements right in the statute.
One of the other municipalities that reached out to me actually gave me some very interesting information where they actually imposed a couple different ordinances and a moratorium with a moratorium map that they did different zones within their areas. So I thought that was interesting because, we obviously are very aware how much they're popping up, and it wasn't until this ordinance change came that these were even coming to this committee. The clerk was just approving them. So is that something that we could possibly look into as an option?
So my understanding of the moratoriums is that if you do it in a licensing model, you can't do it. If you do it in a zoning model, zoning is king. Zoning controls large parts of the city. That is something that could be addressed through zoning. I don't do zoning. That's in many areas here, but zoning's not one of them. But that is when I discussed with both the deputy city attorney in Kenosha and the assistant city attorney in La Crosse. They had been starting to explore those areas because their communities are addressing the same thing. Or are having the same issues of these stores popping up.
Sure. Would you be willing to take a look at this if I had given it to
Absolutely,
you and
yeah.
then maybe get back to me?
So it's legal if we do it through the zoning method, but not through a licensing method?
So the theory behind that would be the licenses are saying you can go open a cigarette, tobacco, vape store. The zoning would say, well, you can only open these types of stores in these areas. So it wouldn't be denying a license based on, it's kind of legal jargon, but it's getting to the same conclusion through a different method. It's not saying you can't have the license, it's saying you can have the license, but you can only open in certain areas.
So could the zoning address the number of vaping stores that are in a particular area?
So I do not think that zoning could put a cap in the same way that a Class A license could, but if they were to only zone 50 places that have the requirements for this type of use, it would effectively work similar to a cap.
So if we, through zoning, targeted certain areas and said you can only have 12 in this area, and this is the only area it's allowed, that could effectively cap it.
Well, so zoning it's a little bit outside of my wheelhouse here, but you can't do a cap, but you can say, we want conditions X, Y, and Z. And then you look at the map, and if there's only, 12 places that have conditions X, Y, and Z, well, then those are the 12 places you can have, or, conditions A through G, or something like that.
So what if we were to redo the zoning, but there is a business that already has the license that is not in the zone?
Yes, so those businesses would be receiving a variance where they would be continuing to operate. They get to continue using that use there. Once that business ceases operating, then that use would go away. And I will add, I believe that the zoning department is going through a rewrite of this. If there's interest in this, I would suggest making contact with that department and getting really the ins and outs of how zoning works.
There's no one specific standing committee has authority over zone.
I'm sorry, say it again?
No one specific standing committee has authority over zone. Is
No.
that correct?
That's correct.
So anything the zoning department would wanna do would have to go to council for approval.
Yes, any zoning ordinances are still ordinances. It will, I don't know what committee it's going to go to, but it will go through common council, probably as a big package item, because I believe they're doing a lot of zoning things.
This will go through the plan commission, the Heritage Planning Design Commission, and then it would come to council for approval. But we don't know we haven't gotten any copies of drafts. So in this instance, if they're changing a zoning ordinance, I don't know that change in the ordinance went through council for referral to the Heritage Planning and Design Committee.
I believe that this is a consultation staff thing that hasn't even got to the point of getting a formal ordinance. It's looking at our zoning and saying, hey, what do we want to do? What are our options here? So it's not at that period yet. It's closer to the stage where we just had at the previous item where they're talking about the ideas.
But this committee could call in the zoning department head, right? And ask them questions as it pertains to what we're looking into.
Correct. But it. So.
I could forward that information to him and see if he'd be willing to take a look at it.
Yeah, I think that would be completely appropriate. This is again at the very edge of what I know about. I don't know to what extent that they have concrete plans yet. I don't know if it would be too soon to call them before this board, but it might be a good idea to forward the idea and say, hey, when you're looking at this, make sure you include these things.
So I don't know that the committee has to do that. I think that could be done by any individual alderman. Could have a conversation with the director of city development and get a status update on where they are with changing that zoning plan, which would thereafter change the ordinance so that concern could be addressed. And I think what this committee is trying to get to is we all have concerns about the health issues that are created by these vapes. And disappointed that either the federal or the state level are willing to address it, so it's kind of heaped on at the local level where we see the ramifications for that. And with the proliferation that we have especially with the vaping, the health consequences on our young people. And our hands are kind of tied, which is frustrating, because of the lack of activity at the state or federal level on taxing the vaping like they've taxed the cigarettes and tobacco to discourage, especially our young people, from getting addicted to these vaping products. So this also to me is a health department issue, and I'm wondering if the health department has any input on this. If this is really an item that's for the health department. Any thoughts?
This, if you would like the health department to speak on this issue, I'm sure that they would be happy to do so. We don't know if they're going to know anything about kind of the statutes and ordinance interaction, but I think that they could definitely speak on its impact on our community and on young people at large.
Okay. So I don't really think we want to receive and file this item because we want to stay on top of it, but I don't know what an appropriate motion would be.
Well, we could always receive and file it and then bring it up, because this is just for his presentation regarding this, right? So couldn't we at another meeting make a motion to have another presentation or talk more, discuss more, kind of like we did with the dance hall ordinance?
Well, what we could also do is defer this item, and it could stay at the bottom of the agenda along with the item that is on the bottom of the agenda that we've deferred several times because of the length of our meetings. So we could either receive and file or defer, whatever the pleasure of the committee is.
Move to defer to.
Okay, we have a motion, a second to defer this item. All those in favor, any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Then this item will be at the bottom of the agenda along with the other item regarding what we've been deferring over and over again. Okay. All righty, next item, please.
Item 0848-25, communication for the licensed premises report.
Oh. Thank you, Sergeant. And thank you so much for your patience. Ah,
So going to the report, the thing we have here is, we had 4 calls for service, and that's what the data and total. Rating on call report, fight in progress on one party. And in the call report, 2 of them were made after the incident, and 2 of them, I believe, were made by the bar. No other violations observed, completed the license premise check on that. And then we did have an incident at Mahoppers, we saw that took place, there was a video that was circulating online. And then there was an arrest that was made for substantial battery. And I believe there's 2 that are pending still. They did draft a search warrant for video surveillance at that location on the 22nd. The owner was followed.
the owner is same as the agent. I believe
Sorry.
when you say,
the-
when you say owner, you really mean the agent, because I think the
Yes.
owner is someone different than who the agent is. Um. The agent was cooperative
After the search warrant,
with the search warrant, yeah.
what did they ask for the search warrant, was it?
So there, what, my understanding on the report, it was drafted as they made comments. So they had it with them.
So, and I believe the person that was arrested for a couple felonies was the husband of the agent.
That hasn't been confirmed in our reports, so I'm not exactly sure what the relationship is. Believe so, but I'm not percent sure. I know they mentioned something about him being security there. Cause the victim allegedly advised that it was, he was the owner, but I don't know how he came up with that.
Okay. Any concerns that the committee has regarding of any of the items that are on the licensed premise report?
Yes,
Then over Kelly.
I'd like to. Is this time or not? the time?
No, I think we have to go to the next item
Okay, I'll
before we
wait.
call people in.
Okay.
I would move to receive and, I don't
Move to approve.
Before we,
know,
yeah. Well, we have a motion, second note, now we can have a discussion on that. I received complaints regarding the bar on Durand Avenue. That's at the shopping mall. Doobies, yeah. And I don't think the issue was really Doobies itself, but what goes on in the parking lot.
Yeah, so, I was doing my report. At Doobies, there was a mention, one, they did extra attention there was no violation observed. There is a second one that they did. It's not noted on here just because when I spoke with the officer and the sergeant that were working that night. They advised that the parties were just to the east, so they're to the east of the far down the parking lot, almost by Wheelock Drive.
Okay,
That's where they were hanging out, so it had nothing, they couldn't tie it to the bar, so. That's it from the.
and is the same thing happening with 627, that there are issues that are still taking place on Washington Avenue that are not related to the 627?
With the select 627, since it's been not operating, we haven't had any issues with parking and no congregating of any sort at the Central, Pearl, any streets.
Okay. Well, that's good news.
It's fabulous news.
But then we did hear from someone tonight, and I don't know how sure it is, but yeah, how truthful it is, but I think it's something that needs to be addressed, that prior to the council approving the 30-day agreement for 627 to shut down, that it's been posted on social media that they are operating out the back door and operating a strip show.
That I'm not too sure.
that fall under the line of the.
It would, I was told by the same individual
Yeah,
about 15 seconds before Alderman Wagner was, so I don't know anything more than that.
But that's, I know this is not, that's why I asked earlier about the line.
It's one of the many things that fall under live entertainment, but yes. Provided there's music.
So I think the the back entrance is on Racine Street.
Every time I've been there, I've always used the front, I'm not exactly sure about this
Let's-
in the rear. There was a call for service yesterday, but we're a little bit tied up by the time that we got to it. Some randomly just called in saying, hey, it appears that the bar is open. By the time that we got there to try and do a licensed premise on it, there was nobody there.
Oh. So how do you ascertain that there's nobody there?
So they went and tried to make contact and they couldn't see anybody inside and the business was closed.
Are you able to see inside, or is it just you knock on the door and it's,
I wasn't the one that responded, but I
Okay.
believe they knocked on the door and they do a quick peek, see light so they could hear it.
can they see, yeah, are they able to see in there, just, yeah,
Maybe more against the back.
okay. Alrighty, that's all questions that I have. I guess a motion to receive and file would be in order. We did that already?
Yes, me and her, and then we just.
Oh, yeah, that was a long time ago. I heard that. All right, any other discussion on that motion to receive and file?
That'll show up on our agenda, right?
That'll show up on our, yeah. Oh, so actually, we would want a motion to approve. Yeah,
Not receiving.
correct. So could you rescind,
Rescind my motion. I rescind my motion.
will the seconder allow for a rescinding of the receive and file? We could entertain a new motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion, a second to approve. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. We're getting there.
Item 0849-25. Communication requesting any consideration, any form of expression of concern or other actions pursuant to the police.
Okay,
Yes.
Alder Kelly.
I would like to call in Mayhoffers, please. Mayhoffers, however you pronounce that.
Mayhoppers, okay, we have a
Second.
request to bring in, a motion to call in Mayhoppers. Any others that we wish to bring in? Based on the license premise report? Okay, seeing, we have a motion, a second to call in Mayhoppers at our next meeting.
Did you want to call in Doobies?
No, the issue really wasn't Doobies, it was more the parking lot, but
Okay.
I think extra attention there is warranted when time allows.
Do we know what, measures Doobies takes to help prevent that swell in their?
Well, from what I understand from the person that made the complaint, it's not the customers from Dewey's, it's just it's a parking lot where people can congregate
Right,
that is by Dewey's.
so not Doobies parking lot, but
Correct.
buy it.
Yeah. Yep, so there are lots of businesses that have access to that parking lot and the complaints that I heard were that it wasn't so much the customers from Dewey's, it was people after the fact. So I guess I'd ask that if, when time allows, that we give some extra attention at bar closing time on Durand Avenue by Dewey's.
Yeah, so it's a little bit unrelated with the public safety license, but, we've had a little bit of spike with our burglaries in the city, so we are doing random building checks honestly with the bars being on business. So we do go out there and then we check everything, so there should be extra attention at least that.
Okay, well, thank you for that. So we have a motion, a second to call in May Holmes.
And
Yeah,
That would.
any further discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. I'm gonna ask again that we defer this item, and the reason for that is because we've had presentations at most of our meetings, which take up the first hour. I don't like to see our meetings go for 2 hours or more. So there is really no urgency as far as the requirements for the operators. Oh, I'm sorry, I should let you read that item first.
0656-25. Communication, wishing to discuss the requirements for operators or agents of a license to provide proof of rehabilitation.
So I again, I'm gonna ask that we defer this so that we can give it the full discussion it deserves rather than after having a long day and a 2-hour meeting that we take it up tonight. We have motion, a second, for any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. That concludes our business for this evening. We are adjourned, and I want to thank the staff for their patience. Attorney's office, the police department, our clerk's office.